Hi everyone, it's Nikki. So, I wanted to talk today about what it means to not suppress yourself to make other people feel comfortable. I know I've said a lot of times, many times in my life, like I am done suppressing parts of myself to make others comfortable. And a lot of times when I say that, people assume that that means that you have to be like rude or inconsiderate, or that that means that you're not going to take anybody else's feelings into account. And that's not the case. When I think about not suppressing myself to make others comfortable, I think that can definitely still be done in a way that's considerate to others. Now, the example that I like to use is I talk out loud to myself. I do that all the time. I always have. It's a very important part of how I process things. It's an important part of my creativity. And when I go a long time suppressing talking to myself, if I just don't do that for a long time, that has a really negative impact on my creativity and on my mental health. Um, Now, that doesn't mean that when I say I'm not going to suppress that, that I would start talking out loud in a way that would disturb other people. Like obviously, there are certain times when it would make a lot of sense to not just be talking out loud to myself. I like to think of it the same way that I would make a phone call in public. So, if I have to make a phone call in public, I'm going to be talking on the phone around other people. I would try to be considerate about that. If there are other people around, I would talk in a lower tone. I would talk softer so that I'm not disturbing everybody. If it's a small room, I might step out of the room or step away from other people to another area so I'm not disturbing everyone. And there would also be plenty of situations where I just wouldn't talk on the phone. If I'm getting together with other friends or something, I might just not take a phone call. I feel like that's kind of rude if I'm already with people to be talking to somebody else on the phone. So, and I feel like that's something that most of us do. Most of us try to be considerate in the way that we would talk on the phone. But the thing is, none of us, when we're being considerate about talking on the phone in public, none of us are trying to pretend that we're not on the phone. Like, none of us have a goal of, I want to make sure that nobody finds out that I'm on the phone. I can't let anybody think that I'm someone who makes phone calls. Like, we just don't do that. Our goal is to be considerate, not to hide the fact that we are making a phone call. That's the way that I want to start being about talking out loud to myself. I would still be considerate. I'm not going to start talking out loud to myself in a movie theater or like when I'm socializing with other people, just have a conversation on my own. Like, no, I would treat it the same way that I would treat making a phone call, where I would be considerate about it, but I would not try to hide the fact that I'm talking to myself you know, because a lot of it is not about not disturbing people. A lot of it has to do with the fact that people are just uncomfortable knowing that you're talking to yourself. There's a negative stereotype, a negative implication there that I think we associate that with mental illness, with things that we don't like. And it feels like something that you're just supposed to be suppressed because someone just might feel uncomfortable, like, I like they just don't like the idea of a person talking to themselves, whether it's personally disturbing them or not. And that's what I mean when I say I will not suppress myself to make others comfortable. I will not pretend to not be talking to myself just because other people are weirded out by that. And when I go for walks in my neighborhood, I talk out loud to myself the entire time. And I don't talk loudly enough that it would disturb everybody, but I also don't talk softly enough that no one is aware that I'm talking to myself. Anyone who passes me is aware of it. And this is just one example, one small example of what I'm talking about. But I just wanted to discuss this because I feel like this is representative of what I mean when I talk about not suppressing. It's very possible to be considerate in a way that is not pretending to something that's not true just to make other people comfortable.